This government is dangerous not just for Iran, for the world. But they have, in fact, killing the time and negotiating and doing lots of sort of.
But contrary to Egypt, the U.S. doesn't support Iran to the tune of $1.3 billion a year in aid.
Yeah, but $1.3 billion is less than what Iran gives to Hamas. Everybody keeps talking about this. It's nothing. Iran gives that much to Hamas. But let me say this. If the Americans are sincere and they really wanted this regime out of the way, it's very simple. What they have to do is what they did with South Africa. In the case of apartheid regime in South Africa, they told the world, they told every country, you want to trade with us or with them? And of course, trade with America is much more important for China, for Russia, for Europe, for everybody.
But the problem is what you're right. The problem is not the American. I'm hearing the Russian foreign minister today was saying, we don't want more sanctions on Iran. I don't hear the Chinese, who are the main dealer with Iran. I think that we have to push the Chinese and the Russians
you don't expect
to become more coherent about
Russia and China regime is just like Iran. It's a little bit different. It's the same nature. They are not democratic. They don't listen to their own people. But
let's not compare, I think. Then.
Well, of course it is. What do you think? I was in Russia when they beat down the opposition. I saw Mr. Kasparov being taken to jail.
But my point was we cannot ask only the American to move ahead.
Yes, we do. Look, even Chinese and Russians, if they have a choice between trading with America or with these gangsters, they choose America.
But Ali Fatemi, let me appeal to the economics professor in you here. The price of oil is rising again.
I have your answer.
Doesn't that give Iran more leverage?
Not at all. Iran exports less than 2 million barrels a day. Saudi Arabia has a capacity of up to 3 million additional production. Any day they can replace Iran. There's no problem about that. The oil is an excuse. But the question is, it takes the willing, it takes the decision. If it were Ronald Reagan, we would see something very different. I'm very critical of Mr.
How to force
Obama.
the Chinese and the Russians to change attitude? How to force them not to buy any more Iranian oil?
I told you, by saying either you trade with us or with them. Which side do you think China will choose? The trade with Iran
They voted against Iran, Islamic Republic in the UN. Why did you do that?
I agree with you, but at the same time I was quite surprised and disappointed by the declaration of the Russian Minister of Foreign Affairs saying no more pressure on Iran. This is absolutely absurd. Now more than ever, pressure has to be done, and they cannot be done only by the Americans.
They vote for the resolutions after watering it down to becoming absolutely useless. They place both sides. They say, okay, we vote, but take this out, take that out. At the end, the resolutions are meaningless. Then they vote for it. And then they tell Europe and America that you can't have sanctions outside. Sanctions have failed.
And apart from that, the European and the American companies, they are having their trade with the Islamic Republic.
Absolutely. Sanctions.
So what sort of sanctions we are talking about? It's joke.
Right. Sanctions have failed. In my opinion, the only remaining solution is to help the Iranian people, give them every support that's necessary to overthrow this regime.
But what is the support? Okay, what's the support concretely?
Money.
What do you do?
No.
It's not concerned
we don't
money,
need money.
no.
As I said, right now, for instance, the biggest problem that the Iranian has is communication. Iranians need, we were discussing that before we came here, an independent television. We have so many journalists, Iranian journalists in exile, and they all become refugees. They're washing dishes in restaurants. They should be put together, and the support should come for them to have an independent television.
From outside?
From outside.
I never
understood. They'll be able to see it in Iran?
Of course they do, with the satellite.
I never understood what is Euronews. What is going there, Euronews?
Do
we need anything to just speak Farsi? Does it help us?
That's a good example of something that should be done. It should be done fast.
No, the world is not serious yet. And I'm afraid this situation may lead to a war.
A final point before we go to the break, because we're almost out of time. Nisha Amiri, they cut off internet just yesterday morning.
And mobiles.
In Egypt, that was like a rag to a red rag to a bull.
Exactly.
What's
the reaction going to be to internet being... How long can they keep the internet off in Iran?
Well, in fact, they have already started since 2009. People who are there, when they want to connect to internet, they have lots of problems. For opening a site, they have to wait hours and hours.
But this is actually off this time.
Yeah.
In Cairo, you have BBC and CNN there.
And they were
in
there.
Iran, you don't.
Right.
That's the difference.
When we come back, we're going to look at the wider implications for the region. Stay with us. The France 24 debate continues.